was saying.
Oh.
Not about the gay stuff.
Oh.
What did Tisha say?
About Melody?
What did she say?
I guess if you guys watch the show, so Tisha also mentioned that certain things were edited out. Yeah, a lot of things was edited out.
The most of it
I don't
about
even want to mention.
But it was mostly edited about me, Martell. What he was saying about me. That was edited out.
Yeah, that's why I was mad, because Marsau was saying a lot of different things about Ariana or whatever. Something that's not true. So the thing is, when stuff is true, you bring
receipts.
You bring the evidence forward, which I can do it about every week.
What happens when a feud that once lived on television screens goes so far that the courtroom becomes the next stage? What happens when pride, pain, and years of unresolved tension finally push a man to say, enough is enough? That is exactly where Martell Holt finds himself right now. After months of tense exchanges, explosive interviews, and whispers spreading faster than anyone can control, Martell has made a move that nobody expected, not even the die-hard fans who watch every episode like it's gospel.
How long did it take for you to realize that Marsau was mad?
I'm not dumb. I realized it kind of like off the bat because everything he did was just so secretive. Like,
okay.
He wasn't trying to do nothing else, gonna charge his card or.
Oh, you paid attention to all of that?
Yeah, I do.
As a woman,
like he literally just did. He made sure that it was not gonna be traceable to him. If he did do something for me, it had to come from somebody else. Whether it was money or I live in Birmingham, so he had to pay for me to come and visit. It had to come from somebody. So, he wasn't finna pay for it.
Yeah. So he would, like, somebody else would be sending you money or?
Yeah.
He is no longer arguing on social media, no longer tossing out accusations and passing conversations, and no longer hiding behind the usual reality TV chaos. He is taking legal action, directly targeting LaTisha and Marsau Scott, a couple he once considered close enough to trust, close enough to break bread with, close enough to believe they would never cross certain lines. But here's the twist: this isn't just some petty back and forth that spiraled out of control. This is a storm that has been building for years, one formed from bruised egos, hidden resentment, and wounds that were never allowed to heal.
I can bring it forward. The things that he said about Ariana, the allegations that he said about Ariana, and then the stuff that he said about me and Tisha said about me in terms of being.
And look at
listen, guys, I'm for the community. I love you guys. I love you. But I'm not.
Now the entire cast of Love and Marriage, Huntsville is watching closely as Martell steps into a legal battlefield that could change everything. Because the moment he decided to hire an attorney, gather evidence, and prepare to confront the Scotts in court, the feud left the world of reality TV and became something far more dangerous, far more real, and far more explosive. To understand how things got here, you have to go back to where the cracks first started to show.
And focused. And then those Scotts had to take me out of my... they had to take me out of that. Okay. Out of my little comfort zone.
Martell Holt and the Scott family were not always enemies. In fact, there was a time when they were all bound together by friendship, shared dreams, and a deep belief that success could be something they built collectively. When Love and Marriage, Huntsville began, viewers could see the chemistry between Martell and Marsau. Their bond looked strong, like two men who understood each other's ambitions and could rely on each other even when life got chaotic. They talked about business, family, marriage, and what it meant to build something meaningful in a city where most people underestimated them. But success has a way of revealing tension that people try to hide.
And my thing is like, I'm gonna let her tell her truth, whatever that is. And actually, that was all of it. And again, I was there. So you know when people tell the truth, they go break like me. I'm gonna bring forth the evidence. Stuff that Tisha said, stuff that Marsau said, it's not true. So that's when you go to court. When you say not alleged, so this when you go to court. So that's how you know people lying, okay? So I don't want nobody saying that, oh, Martell, you lying about this.
I bet we don't go to court from YouTube, from our YouTube. I bet we don't.
So only time I'm going to court is dealing with you know who, my ex.
Fame stretches relationships until the truth begins seeping through the cracks. And for Martell and the Scotts, the smallest disagreements slowly turned into big problems that began as jokes, then turned into jabs, and eventually escalated into full-fledged attacks. Every episode showed little hints of this shift: side comments, suspicious glances, questions that sounded innocent but were meant to sting, and arguments that hinted at deeper issues nobody wanted to confront publicly. Things became even more complicated when Martell's personal life unfolded in front of the world. His marriage to Melody Holt, once celebrated as a symbol of partnership and ambition, became the centerpiece of scandal. The cheating accusations, the emotional breakdowns, the heated confrontations, all of it was aired for millions to judge. And while Martell was fighting to hold his life together, he started noticing something else. People in his own circle were using his pain as ammunition. The Scotts, particularly Marsau, often spoke on Martell's marital issues in ways that didn't sit right with him. What began as commentary slowly started to feel like mockery. Instead of support, Martell felt judged. Instead of concern, he felt targeted. And instead of brothers in business, they started to look like rivals waiting for him to fall apart. Then came the rumors, the ones that slapped both families straight into unfamiliar territory. Martell hinted that LaTisha had her own secrets from her college years, secrets involving infidelity that she denied immediately and forcefully. In her eyes, Martell wasn't telling the truth, he was trying to destroy her character. And she wasn't about to let that slide. Marsau got involved too, using his typical calm tone to dismantle Martell's credibility piece by piece, reminding everyone of Martell's very public mistakes. But what nobody expected was how deep the resentment actually ran. Martell felt like the Scotts had thrown stones at him for years. He believed they used his lowest moments for storylines, commentary, and shade. And eventually, the pressure built up so much that he wasn't just angry, he felt betrayed. The drama exploded even further when a mysterious woman stepped forward, claiming she had been involved with both Marsau and Maurice. Her story, whether true or not, became a spark that ignited a wildfire. She said Martell knew everything, that he arranged meetings, that he wasn't lying about the Scotts' past. People watched her interview and couldn't tell if she was telling the truth or simply chasing attention. Her mispronunciation of Marsau's name raised doubts, but the timing kept fans wondering if she had been sent by Martell or if she was trying to insert herself into the feud for clout. Either way, it added fuel to the fire. And Martell's reaction made things even more intense. He doubled down. He said the woman wasn't lying. He said he had proof. He said he was ready for court. During his live sessions, he spoke with a conviction that left fans divided. Some believed him, others rolled their eyes. But his confidence didn't fade. It grew. And that's when the Scotts went silent, a silence that felt calculated. Fans couldn't stop talking. Was their silence a strategy? Were they consulting lawyers? Were they preparing to fight back? Or did they believe the story was too ridiculous to dignify with a response? For a moment, it seemed like this feud might just stay online. But Martell had something else in mind. For the first time, he put legal pressure on the table, not in a subtle way, not in an indirect way, but clearly, directly, and publicly. He reached a breaking point. And once that happened, there was no turning back. His attorneys drew up notices. Documents were prepared. And soon after, the Scotts received communication that Martell Holt was moving forward with legal action. Now this quiet threat has transformed into a real case, real lawyers, real evidence, and real consequences. The Scotts, confident and outspoken in the past, have grown more cautious. Marsau, who once brushed off accusations with clever jokes and calm reasoning, now appears more guarded. LaTisha, usually quick to address rumors, has been extremely selective with her responses. Their silence doesn't look like fear. It looks like strategy, the kind of silence people keep when they're consulting attorneys and preparing for a storm. But the legal action isn't just about the accusations themselves. It's a confrontation of everything Martell has felt for years. He believes he has been attacked, undermined, and disrespected to the point where his livelihood, reputation, and family were affected. And now he's demanding accountability. The courtroom could expose secrets the cast never wanted to share. It could make producers nervous. It could damage careers. It could change friendships forever. And depending on what evidence Martell brings, it might even shift the entire narrative of who has been telling the truth all along. Martell's supporters see this legal move as a sign of strength, arguing that people don't go to court unless they feel confident in what they can prove. They believe he's tired of being painted as the villain. Tired of being the one everyone mocks. Tired of being disrespected publicly by people he once trusted. But those backing the Scotts say this is nothing more than a desperate attempt to regain relevance, a way to force himself back into the center of the storyline. They argue that if he truly had evidence, he wouldn't hide it behind vague comments and dramatic lives. They believe the Scotts have too much to lose to play games, and that their silence shows maturity rather than fear. No matter which side you stand on, you can't deny that this lawsuit has changed the energy around the show. Every cast member is watching carefully, wondering who might get pulled into the mess next. Because if accusations start flying under oath, names could be mentioned, secrets could be revealed, and people who thought they were on the sidelines might suddenly find themselves at the center of the storm. The emotional weight on everyone involved is heavy. Martell is fighting to rebuild his life post-divorce. He's trying to regain control of his image, his career, his household, and his peace. Melody is watching from the distance, trying to stay out of the feud while raising her children. The Scotts are trying to protect their business, their marriage, and their roles on the show. Their children could be affected. Their family legacy could be impacted. And behind all the cameras, the producers know that whatever happens next will either strengthen the show or tear it apart. But here's what nobody expected: this legal action has forced the cast to confront the truth about how much their relationships have deteriorated. This isn't a TV rivalry anymore. It's a real-life crisis. And it raises the question, what happens when close friends turn into bitter enemies? What happens when people who once shared dinners, vacations, and private conversations now prepare to sit across from each other in court, armed with lawyers, ready to fight? This moment could change everything. It could expose lies that have been buried for years. It could reveal alliances that people never saw coming. It could push some cast members to distance themselves entirely. And it could make Martell and the Scotts realize that the damage done is much deeper than what the camera ever captured. Martell's legal action is more than a lawsuit. It's a reflection of hurt, betrayal, and the consequences of letting resentment grow without addressing it. The Scotts might win legally, or they might lose. Martell might prove his point, or he might find himself facing backlash. But regardless of who comes out on top, one thing is certain: nothing will ever go back to the way it used to be. This is a turning point for love and marriage, Huntsville. A moment where drama leaps out of reality TV and steps into real life. A moment where the cast learns that not every wound can heal, not every friendship survives fame, and not every feud can stay on screen. Court documents don't dissolve when cameras stop rolling. Legal battles leave marks long after filming ends. Fans are waiting to see what happens next. Will the Scotts fire back with a countersuit? Will they break their silence and tell their side? Will Martell release evidence? Will more people come forward? Will the network get involved? Every possibility feels just as explosive as the last. And as this legal storm grows, one question rises above all the chaos. Is this fight about truth or revenge? Whatever the answer is, the next chapter of this feud is going to be unforgettable. The courtroom is calling, and the people involved will have no choice but to face whatever comes out when the truth is finally laid bare. Because once a feud reaches this level, the outcome doesn't just change a storyline. It changes lives.